Hello, my name is Peter Luft. I'm the Vice President of Franchise Expansion for the RE/MAX organization throughout the U.S. Today, I'm going to share with you the value of owning a real estate franchise. Before I get started, I just want to share with you that, of course, I'm with the RE/MAX organization. I have been since 1990. I've been in real estate the vast majority of my life. I grew up in it. My experience with franchises comes from the RE/MAX organization. I do work with all kinds of our competitors. I understand a lot about our competitors, but I'm intimately familiar with the value of the RE/MAX organization. So today, as I share information with you about the value of franchise ownership, please understand there are all kinds of franchise opportunities out there. All of the franchise have various aspects of their value proposition that might be valuable to you. I, of course, am most familiar with RE/MAX, and I'm going to be referencing the value of RE/MAX throughout the presentation and our discussion today. So bear that in mind. Know that everything that I share with you, many of the franchises out there have varying degrees of similar or comparable types of things based on their culture, based on their focus, based on their business model, their years of experience, and everything else. So just wanted to cover that so that you understand. I want you to get value out of this session. If you're considering a franchise, to think about all the things that might bring value to you in your business. So with that said, let's get started. Let's talk about the true value of a real estate franchise. Well, before we go there, let's start with the value of a franchise. Here are the first top 10, and the first 4 fall into one big category. The first thing is having something that's proven, a concept, a business model, a product, structure, service that's proven. That's vitally important. And then tying a very unique value proposition to that product that is duplicatable and has very specific tools, systems, support mechanisms to that business. All 4 of those things kind of fit into one category. The fifth thing on the list is probably the most important, which is having a strong brand identity. And when a franchise starts, of course, it doesn't have much of a brand identity in order to grow locally, regionally, nationally, or globally. But establishing and building on a brand's identity is vitally important in any franchise network. The 6th item that's most important is taking that brand and doing something with it. So having a global advertising and marketing plan, usually funded by the franchisees collectively, is something that's critically important to any franchise organization, and certainly one that you want to consider in looking at franchises. The 7th item is having services, service providers, products that apply to that business model, where your franchisor has established some group pricing, some criteria in terms of the value that those products and services can deliver to the franchisee and their customers, as well as having quality controls in place so that all franchisees are utilizing the same structure, the same products and services, the same quality levels to deliver uniformity to the consumer. The next thing is having very specific initial and ongoing training and support for the franchisees to help get them off the ground and running, to help them build and grow their business, and at maturity, helping them manage and expand and grow their business as they see it appropriate, as well as possibly develop an exit strategy if that's the franchisee's desire. So that's, again, vitally important. The 9th thing is a revenue or royalty structure that works for everybody in the, so to speak, franchise food chain. So it's got to be valuable, and there has to be a structure for the customer, the consumer. There has to be a revenue structure for the franchisee that works for the franchisee and provides the opportunity for margins so that they can build and grow their business from a financial perspective effectively. And then, of course, there needs to be enough margin for there to be a royalty structure to pay the franchise organization so that they can develop tools, systems, services, and provide value back to the franchisees based on the collective revenue stream that they receive. So those two things are vitally important, having a revenue structure and a royalty structure that's sustainable and manageable for the franchisor and franchisee. Then, of course, the final thing, which is a solid strategy for growth and expansion. This is the item that's closest to my heart, being in charge of franchise sales and expansions for the U.S. Growth and expansion is critical, especially in the early stages of any franchise, but also on an ongoing basis to continue to deepen the penetration throughout the markets that the franchise operates, as well as building that brand identity, consumer awareness, and driving value to the franchisees and all affiliated with the franchise organization and all of their stakeholders. So let's talk a little bit about where franchising really started booming, which was in the 50s and 60s. And if you weren't around then, you'll be able to relate to this, I'm sure. But looking at the franchise industry as a whole, in the 50s and 60s, it really started out with some incredible brands that you'll recognize today. Of course, we had McDonald's. That's widespread. They're all over the planet. And in addition to fast food, franchising touched many industries that you may not immediately think of. Midas Muffler, auto repair, Holiday Inn, hotels, 7-Eleven, convenience stores, and the like. Budget Rent-A-Car started out as a franchise. And if you look at those organizations today, those are very well-known, respected brands that have grown their franchise systems effectively throughout the United States, if not the world. So when we look at franchise brands, the Franchise Times ranks the top 200 franchises every year. And when you look at these brands, I'm sure you'll recognize all of them. I mean, there are fast food organizations, pizza places, hotels, hardware stores, convenience stores, all kinds of things, even real estate. So how did franchising impact real estate? It really all started in the 70s. And if we go back to the 70s, there were a lot of a lot of real estate organizations competing all over the United States for business. And it was dramatically different than it is today. But in the 70s, ERA, Century 21, and RE/MAX really made a big impact on the real estate industry and started growing across the country, as well as in later years, growing globally. Today, those organizations, again, very recognized, very well-established brands in the real estate space, and started really changing the way that real estate was done throughout the United States. Today, franchises in real estate, according to Realtor Magazine's study from 2019, looking at 28 franchise brands, they assessed that 42% of all realtors are affiliated with one of those 28 franchise brands. And when we go and look at those franchise brands, the top brokerages in the United States, of those 28, here are the top 5 ranked along with the other 23 from the 2019 study. When we look at the top brokerages based on number of offices, here again are the top 5 along with the other 23 organizations. And the franchise industry, obviously, over the course of the last 50 years, has had a major impact on our business. Again, considering 42% of all realtors in 2019 were affiliated with a franchise is impactful. But taking that information and looking at it a little closer, a full 37% of the market share in the United States is controlled by the top 10 franchise brands. That's pretty impactful. And the franchise industry has taken hold in real estate and delivered incredible value, not only for the consumer, but also for franchise owners, franchisors, and all of their stakeholders across the board. So let's take a look at all of those brands in the industry. And here we take a look at the various brands that are the top in the real estate industry. And when you look at these brands, they all have different types of models, different structures, different cultures, and each of those are geared towards a target audience. Of course, the consumer, the buyer and seller of residential, commercial, luxury transactions, investment transactions, and so on. Every franchise targets a vast majority of consumers. But inside the industry, those brands, models, and cultures speak different things to the agents and the brokers in the industry. So, what's the value of a real estate franchise? What's the value to you as an owner of an existing company? Or if you're a top agent thinking about opening up your own company, or a manager thinking about opening your own company, or a team looking at going into also running a general brokerage, what's the real value of a real estate franchise? So first, we're going to talk about the establishment of a blueprint. So back when I talked about franchising having a proven concept or model, something of value, having a unique value proposition, that's what's most important about the value of a real estate franchise, is an established blueprint or a way of operating, a way of doing business. That's all part of your culture and part of the structure of your franchise model. The second thing is having initial onboarding, training, development, and guidance to help get you either out of the ground, building your brokerage and growing it, or taking your current brokerage and taking it to the next level. You've got to have an onboarding team that helps make that happen, as well as a support system and training and development structures in place to help that new franchisee get off the ground, get rolling, growing, building, and increasing their effectiveness as a brokerage operator. The next thing is an onboarding coach, consultant, or support system that you have in place as a franchise. That's going to be vitally important to anybody considering a franchise option in real estate. We all deal with, in real estate, lots of change, lots of technological changes, training and development changes, industry, consumer, regulation changes. So having a support team that is there to help you all the way through your franchise's lifetime is vitally important, and certainly something to look into when considering a franchise. There's much more, and I'm going to take a deeper dive in each of those as we go forward. And the first thing that's most important next is, of course, the brand. The collective power of a brand is vitally important for any franchise, and in real estate, it couldn't be more important. Consumers today, especially today, are looking for someone they know, like, and trust. And being able to walk into a listing presentation, a recruiting meeting with an agent, engaging buyers, engaging agents to join your brokerage, there's nothing more important than what your brand represents. So the collective power of a brand is vitally important to a franchise in real estate. The next thing that's important, of course, inside the industry is the familiarity with your brand among all of the industry, trade publications, organizations, and getting traction with those organizations, as well as recognition. As you can see here, RE/MAX has been recognized by Entrepreneur Magazine, by the Wall Street Journal, and Real Trends in the 1000, Real Trends, Riz Media, America's Best, and the list goes on. Many franchises establish their awareness within the industry, and it's something that, again, creates tremendous value for a franchise owner and for their agents and for all of those inside the industry. The next thing is what you do with the brand that you've established. The collective power of that brand isn't that impactful if you're not doing something with it dramatic. So group advertising and marketing is critical. Getting that brand out there, whether it's on TV, whether it's on social channels, billboards, buses, whatever opportunities you have to market and promote that brand is critical. Making it available as a group so that the collective contributions from the franchisees go into a fund where that marketing is done regionally and nationally is vitally important, as well as the ability for the franchisee, their agents to leverage that brand locally and in their personal business is critically important. So group advertising and marketing, again, another critical component of a real estate franchise. Next, we have the item that I mentioned earlier about all franchises is having group purchasing, value pricing, having quality controls in place in order to be able to have uniformity, have special value for all of our franchisees and agents is critically important. So, what else? Technology, tools, education, communication, all of these things are critically important. And in the RE/MAX Max Center, we have all of these things available at your fingertips 24/7, 365. And I'll dive into each of those a little bit. On the next slide, we've got technology, right? So we have Booz, which is a technology company we acquired for CRM, for websites, for all things technology within the RE/MAX organization for all of our agents and owners. We also have First that we acquired at the end of last year, and it's a predictive artificial intelligence app that helps identify buyers and sellers before they're starting the buying or selling process. That's available for our agents. We created Zoom technology, especially during the pandemic, offering that out to all of our franchisees to use during the pandemic for their business to help drive adoption of that technology. RE/MAX.com for the consumer and lead generation. We have the Design Center, the Max Center, a whole host of things that fully supports our offices and agents in the technology arena. Next, we have all kinds of tools that can be leveraged by our agents and owners, whether it's PhotoFi to share things socially, various approved supplier programs that we have. We've launched Megaphone, RE/MAX Hustle, all things marketing to create tools for our network to leverage, take advantage of, and help support them in their business is, again, something that's critical in any franchise. Finally, training and communication is critical, whether it's RE/MAX University and the things that we offer there, or webinars that we put on and do. We have Good Morning RE/MAX with our CCO, Chief Customer Officer, Nick Bailey. Adam Contos does Mind, Body, and Business once a week and has his podcast, Start With a Win, as well as the RE/MAX.com news site and RE/MAX Cares to support those that are having challenges in life or in their geographic area. So all kinds of training, development, and communication tools exist within our franchise network. And again, something critically important in any franchise in real estate. So when we get into specialized areas, we have the commercial arena, we have the RE/MAX collection, and we've created 2 sister brands under the RE/MAX umbrella to support those entities within our industry. And again, something vitally important with any franchise to be able to offer a full rounded array of services to potential clients. Next, we have a global presence. RE/MAX is in over 110 countries throughout the world. That RE/MAX balloon is flying. That brand awareness is out there throughout the globe from the standpoint of awareness, consumer branding, consumer awareness, identification, referrals, events and opportunities across the globe. Having a global presence provides value to a franchisee in all of those areas. Speaking of referrals and networking, whether it's within your network, whether it's in an organization like the Referral Exchange with RESAS, or an affiliation with a group like NAGLREP, like NARREP, like ARIA that serve different segments of the real estate community. Those networks and opportunities for your brand and their participation in supporting those things for networking and referrals is, again, vitally important and something we do extensively. Awards and recognition is something else that's very important to your agents and to you as an owner of a real estate brokerage. Being recognized among your peers for your performance, for your achievements, is something that's vitally important. And here's an example of a number of things that we do, the different award recognition levels that we have within our organization. And there's nothing more valuable than being recognized at the RE/MAX convention, which typically is in Las Vegas every year. And 2020, here's an example. Conventions are also very important to a franchise organization. They provide the environment for your franchisees or for the franchisees as well as agents to network, connect, build relationships, create referral opportunities for each other, as well as have a lot of fun. I mean, many organizations, we had a concert in 2020. We had Journey play a concert to all of our network in their stadium there at Mandalay Bay. We have speakers, we have sessions, we have updates and announcements. We have all kinds of breakout sessions to network, to learn, and to lean into each other and share best practices and all kinds of strategies. And it's a phenomenal event, and it's something that every franchise provides that's very valuable to its franchisees. In addition, we have our broker owner conference, which happens every August. This year, in 2020, it was virtual, and it was a phenomenal event with all kinds of breakout sessions and educational opportunities and networking sessions for our owners. Typically, it rotates around the country. And again, just like for the conventions themselves, this is specifically for brokers, owners, managers, recruiters to network and share best practices and connect with each other. So, what's most valuable about a franchise for the franchisees and for the agents is sharing and collaboration. Within our organization, and I'm not sure what it's like in other franchises, but RE/MAX, the sharing that occurs between top producing agents, between broker owners, managers, recruiters, all of those different people in our industry, the sharing is incredible. Being transparent, sharing openly is something that is incredibly breathtaking when you see it happen live, like we do at our events, whether it's a local, regional, national, or international event. The sharing and collaboration is incredible. The connectivity between people that establish relationships with themselves across the country or across the globe are incredible for sharing, for bouncing ideas off of, for picking each other's brains and learning from each other. Whether you're an agent or an owner, those opportunities are endless within a franchise network. Finally, we have community support. And RE/MAX, since 1992, has been the proud supporter of the Children's Miracle Network, and we've raised over $160 million that supports over 170 franchise or children's hospitals throughout the country. No one individually can have that kind of an impact, and collectively, RE/MAX has supported the Children's Miracle Network in incredible ways. And every dollar that we raise goes to the local hospital where that dollar came from. And again, a philanthropic, charitable organization to support is of paramount importance for any franchise, and all of our owners, agents, and stakeholders in the RE/MAX organization keep the Children's Miracle Network real close to our heart and support it in all kinds of ways. So, a franchise organization, I've jammed through a lot of information here, provides a partnership between you individual as franchisees where you connect with each other and have something in common with a common item that you're trying to build in your business. Your agents share something with each other in common to help you build the organization. But That franchise serves everybody from all walks of life. And the franchise at RE/MAX, we view ourselves as a business that builds businesses, whether it's our franchisees helping their agents build their business, whether it's our regional support team and onboarding team and everybody at the RE/MAX World Headquarters supporting our franchisees in growing their business, or whether it's all of the above, helping each other collectively grow our business. That's what we as a franchise organization are all about. And I know that's something that collectively a franchise offers a real estate brokerage. So with that said, I would like to go to some owners with some real world experiences to share with you what their take on being affiliated with a franchise has been. And of course, they're with RE/MAX. They're going to share their perspective with you being affiliated with RE/MAX. But again, as I mentioned at the beginning, all franchises offer varying degrees of support, services, all of the things that I've talked about based on their structure, their tenure in franchising, their size, their capabilities. And as you venture down this path to look at franchise opportunities, I hope that you get some insights from our two guests today that are valuable for you. So I'm going to introduce to you Charlie Orden from Orlando, Florida, and Brandon Pruitt from Columbus, Ohio. Charlie started his franchise in 2002, 18 years ago, and Brandon started his in 2010. They've had a wide variety of markets, a wide variety of things that they've done in the business and that they're going to bring with you to share today. So let's go to Brandon and Charlie and have them share their experiences with you. All right, well, welcome, Brandon and Charlie. Thank you for joining us today at NAGLREP and at our session, The Value of Owning a Real Estate Franchise. Let's go to you first, Brandon. Tell me, how long have you been in the real estate business?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. So I started in real estate in 2008. Everyone thought it was, they thought I was crazy, right? I was entering this market when it was the worst of the worst. But I started as a sales professional. And then 2 years later, decided to embark on owning my own brokerage. So I started my office in 2010 and have continued to list and sell real estate and also build a brokerage since that time. And it's been a wild ride. It's been great.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing. Charlie, how about you? How long have you been in the business? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I started in the business about 34 years ago and worked for builders and developers for about half my career. But then in 2002, I started my first RE/MAX franchise. Started with 2 agents and grew all the way up at one point up to 100. So I just celebrated my 18th year with RE/MAX and 34 years in the real estate business.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. What things you've seen throughout your career. I'm sure you've got all kinds of stories. Thanks for sharing that, Charlie. So let's dig in here a little bit to truly the value of owning a real estate franchise. So first, let's go back to you, Charlie. You know, why did you choose a franchise? What was attractive to you about building your brokerage, starting your brokerage out with a franchise? Can you share a little bit with us?
Yeah, sure. Some of the most important things that I was looking for was a global presence. Today, RE/MAX is in over 110 countries. And I wanted to go in where everybody knew your name. So today, when I first started a company, it was just a local branded company. And we spent half of our time trying to explain to our customers who we were. Now, when we say RE/MAX, nobody even questions it. Everybody knows it. So having that global brand was really, really important to me. The other thing was they already have all the systems in place and the support to help us. So that was like a major thing for me. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to recreate the whole wheel, build the whole system. They already had it for me. But most important thing, the brand recognition enabled me to recruit the best agents and seasoned agents mainly, and also, make it easier for them.
You bet. You bet. Good stuff. Brandon, same question to you. Why did you choose a franchise when you decided to open your brokerage?
Yeah, much of very similar things to what Charlie mentioned. I think a big thing for me was brand recognition when I first started. Obviously, I was very new to the industry and didn't really want to have to kind of create my own brand and then explain, like Charlie was mentioning, spend much of my time explaining who I was or justify who we were to the marketplace. Obviously, I affiliated with RE/MAX, the #1 name in residential real estate in our market. And so that was kind of, I didn't have to recreate that wheel. Another really important thing for me, being kind of newer in the industry and also a newer broker, was I wanted to surround myself with other leaders and I wanted to be around the best of the best. And I was searching for mentors to help me kind of, I aspired to be that type of person. And so I wanted to surround myself with those types of people, and going at it alone, I felt like I would just be all by myself. And that was a little frightening. Whereas when I joined the franchise network, the systems and support that I received, not only just from RE/MAX headquarters, but also from my fellow broker owners across the network, was tremendous in helping me kind of catapult growing the business. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things we hear is incredibly valuable, is that network of peers. Yes. That own and operate the brokerage or doing similar things to you. I mean, Charlie, you've done some pretty incredible things with your different office themes over the years and shared those within the network. And we've seen all kinds of different spin-off of different types of offices, different looks, feels, cultures within the office. And I think you took that to an extreme at times, and was something that kind of permeated the network. You can touch maybe a little bit on that. I know I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but you had the Vegas themed office and then you had the Monopoly themed office.
Right. I wanted to do something a little bit different and show our agents that we can be creative and that we can do something a little bit different. Everybody, they open up the office, they have, desks and chairs and paint the walls beige. I wanted to do something that was an environment, and nobody does it better than Walt Disney. They create this environment and everybody wants to come, and they'll pay for parking and they'll pay a lot of money to get in, and they have a great time and you see people happy. We are a product of our environment. And like what Brandon said before, you go in there, you've got leaders that are helping you. But what I had to set the example. So I had to be the leader. I had to show that you can be creative, that you can do something different. So Monopoly is the game of chance. So is real estate. That's where we came up with the Monopoly theme. And we built the world's largest 9,000 square foot Monopoly board. It was a modernized version. The carpet was custom made. It looked like a Monopoly board. And the agents' pictures were blown up and placed on the wall. And they were part of the Monopoly set. The second one I did was the Las Vegas theme, and you look like you're in the middle of Las Vegas. So we took, I had taken over a 14,000 square foot CVS space, opened up the whole thing, and we had an Eiffel Tower. We had conference rooms that were different hotels, and people just wanted to be there. I've had people walk in and say, I don't care what I do with today, but I need to work here. I want to be part of this office. And that was one of the strengths of recruiting. So when I take like all the tools and features that RE/MAX provided and all the training and the culture and the brand recognition, then tie it in with things that I did and that I was trying to do with create that culture, that leadership, it was like a win-win. And I grew like crazy. I mean, we were up to 100 agents on I think about the 4th year. So it was a great ride.
Well, and again, one of the things that I hear from many of our franchise owners, the greatest value about the RE/MAX franchise specifically is that you get to use this global, massive, big, known brand and you get to use it your way in your office. And that's a perfect example of that, Charlie. And again, sharing those ideas, sharing those strategies, sharing those experiences throughout our network in RE/MAX is valuable. In a franchise, that is valuable. So I want to shift gears and go over to your agents. You've mentioned agents a couple of times. So tell me a little bit, Brandon, about what you see is the greatest value of being with a franchise for your agents. What do they get the most value out of being with your office, but also the franchise?
Sure. Yeah, I think echoing much of like what I see value in as a broker owner, they also see value in the brand. The global presence and just the not having to justify who they work for, which was a huge positive. Also leveraging much of the tools and as well as the training. We have really great support, and RE/MAX University is awesome for whatever career path you're on, whether you're new to the industry or whether you're a seasoned, experienced agent. They've harnessed really the best of the best from across the network, and my agents can tap into that at the comfort of their gym, their home, wherever. They find value in seeing that, and you kind of have a bigger perspective on also what's happening just in the general market. What's working for someone out in California might actually work here in Columbus, and it just hasn't made its way here yet. And so we've done a really great job of disseminating that to the agents. So I think that's what they find the biggest value of, honestly.
Great. Good stuff. Charlie, what about you? What do you feel that your agents get the most value out of because of the franchise affiliation?
Well, I think, also tagging on to what we talked about before, when they go on a listing presentation or they work with a buyer, they don't have to explain who they are. In fact, even if they just had the balloon and they didn't have the name on it, everybody knows it. It's one of the most 10 recognized brands in the world. So that was one thing. I go back to some of the what Brandon was talking about, some of the training, some of the culture. When you go to the RE/MAX convention, it is like something. It is something that you can't even describe. For me, going there, I had one of my agents that went with me, and I took him and I said, "You got to go there." And he looked at me, he says, "Why don't more people come to this? Why doesn't everybody come to this?" We left there walking about 2 feet above the ground. I mean, we were just so pumped up and everything. So, learning from other people, I always say you're a product of your environment. Yeah. When you're sitting there getting trained by other people that are making $1 million a year, or you see what they're doing and they're doing something different, or they teach you, about some of the new technology, and it's electrifying. And then when you go to the opening session, and you see people from all over the world and you meet friends, and that's my one time a year that I get to meet all my friends from Italy that I met when I was a speaker out there, and my friends from Sweden and from Turkey. But I think the proudest moment for me was when at the beginning of the show, they walk out with all of the flags from all the different countries, which just kind of, you feel like you're going to the Olympics. But last year I got to carry the American flag. And for me, that was one of the greatest things. I waited 18 years for that, and I got to do it last time. And it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny, Charlie. I saw you carry that flag. I remember that. I really do remember that. That's impactful. And that is an amazing thing. And again, the value to your agents, like you said, leaving Las Vegas at the convention, you do feel like you're walking on air. And no pun intended with the hot air balloon. I mean, Vegas, your office theme with Vegas, I know you have a balloon that looks like it landed in the middle of that office, which was pretty cool. But you do feel like you're walking on air. So that's great stuff. So that's, a lot of really good specific stuff that your agents get value out of. And I know, we talked a few minutes ago about the value of why you decided to use a franchise. But now that you've been in it, Charlie, you've been in it for 18 years, Brandon for 10 as an owner. What would you say the biggest benefits are to you as an owner from owning a franchise? Brandon?
I have to go back to the support and just the general the network that I've affiliated with, and people like Charlie who do super creative stuff. Like I had no idea about that, and that's awesome. And now I want to try to create like cool themes in my office, right? But I would have never gotten that if I hadn't been affiliated with the network. And we're also willing to help and willing to share, which I think is also incredibly important. The culture of Remax is we're here to help everyone succeed and do better. And what I also found to be very beneficial is I get the brand recognition, but I also have the ability to grow and build my business the way I want to grow and build my business, right? Much like Charlie mentioned, like you can utilize that brand and then take it and, be creative and do things that, other people aren't doing and kind of blaze a trail. And then all of a sudden everyone's kind of copying or taking little bits and pieces of what you did and implementing it into their own business. So I've just found that that's been the best. I mean, Broker Owner Conference, R4, hands down best events I go to. They keep you motivated, energized. I mean, Charlie said it better than I could. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, electrifying, right? Yeah. I think is the word that was used. So good stuff. Well, Charlie, what about you? Specifically to you as a broker owner, what do you think some of the greatest value you've gotten out of your franchise?
Right. Well, one of the things that when I bought the first franchise back in 2002, and I was basically about Brandon's age when I did it. So I was been in the business for quite a while, but I was not in the brokerage business. So I wanted to know one thing was I wanted to make sure that there was the support, and nothing it gives a better example than back in 2008 and the current situation that we're having now with the pandemic. Remax has been there to help us. They've come out with new tools. They came out with new technology that's going to help us to work out of our homes so that our business did not stop. It actually kept on going. It just kept on going in a different way. And we learned to have meetings on Zoom. We learned to have, I was having Sunday brunch on Zoom. They stepped in and came up, they bought new technology companies that helped us with leading the system and leading the industry. So that was like very, very important to me. Okay, like I said, I'm a very creative person. I stepped way out of the box. In fact, I broke down the box. But I also wanted that support. I wanted the people there that was going to be there to help me during the tough times as well as the good times. That was probably the biggest thing. The other thing is they let you kind of within certain guidelines, but they let you do things your way. I'm not your typical in the box type of person. Remax provides you, you have 50 or 100 different business cards. You can brand yourself and market yourself your way, but use the strength and the power of a brand that's been in business for over 45 years. Yep. So those were all like key things for me, and it's been I just celebrated my 18th year, and I just signed the franchise for another 10 years, so I'm going at it.
That's great. Fantastic. Well, the two things that I heard that were the most impactful out of both of you in that last minute or so was the collaboration, the transparency, the sharing, the networking within our ownership group. And we have the same thing in our agent group. And then the support, the assistance, the guidance, kind of taking the hill, the leadership team at Remax, taking the hill and then conveying all that information to all of our troops behind us, right? I mean, that's what a franchise network is all about, is like I've heard you both say, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You also don't have to keep up on every single thing in the industry because we do, and then we feed it out through our network. The other thing that both of you, that I picked up in that conversation that both of you shared is the value of not reinventing the wheel, not having to think about all these things, and you're able to do it your way and take it from the network and then implement it yourself. So good stuff. So I'm going to shift gears again, and I'd like to ask you, what kind of impact has owning your franchise specifically had on the LGBT community, as well as your involvement with NAGLREP? Charlie, let's start out with you and dive deeper into that.
Well, I set out that, like I said, 18 years ago, I wanted to set an example. I wanted to set a standard. I wanted to show people that it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, that you're welcome and you can be the president of the United States if you want to. And I think one day there will be a gay president, hopefully in my time. So that was one thing. I also love the fact that they embrace all walks of life, whether you're different ethnicity or if you're gay. And being a gay man, I wanted to feel home. I wanted to feel comfortable. I didn't want to feel like I was in a company that didn't support me. I met Brandon at one of the happy hours. It was a gay happy hour that we had. And so we met. There was a whole bunch of people there. And you create those networks and those people. Richard Realtor, I've known for 15 years, 16 years. I met him through RE/MAX, and we've stayed friends that long. So that was a big thing for me. It also, I wanted to show people that be creative, do things, and express yourself. So that was, and RE/MAX has been very supportive, very supportive.
No question. Well, and you've definitely done that, and I love what you said about our network is so inclusive of everybody from all walks of life. It's something that I fell in love with RE/MAX when I joined in 1990, and the entrepreneurial spirit that's woven into the company, the inclusion. I mean, you go back to the 70s when Dave Liniger started this company. Women weren't supported in being realtors. They were okay to be administrators or secretaries. I mean, Dave's told the story many times, and the reality is the vast majority of his growth in his initial phases were with people that were excluded from many real estate companies. So it's been woven into the fabric of our company, and I appreciate you sharing that, Charlie. That's great stuff. Brandon, let's go over to you. So the impact of the LGBT community and your involvement with NAGLREP, and how being with the franchise has helped you or empowered you or impacted you in that arena.
Sure. Yeah, I actually, I didn't know that NAGLREP even existed until I went to R4 and connected with some other folks that said, hey, you should be part of this organization. And, I immediately went back and kind of immersed myself in it. And, now a friend of mine, Sam, out in Reno, he and I coordinated the kind of happy hour that Charlie was mentioning earlier. So it's been phenomenal to be able to create different connections and actually get me involved. And I think too, from an advocacy level, like the collective voice roars louder than the singular voice. And so having the power of the network behind, what our initiatives are, which is, equal housing for everyone, right? RE/MAX was critical and absolutely involved in helping, voice that at a national level, right? And not only do we get to bring that power with us as broker owners in our business, but we get to bring that power of the brand with us at an advocacy level, which I think is so critical because we're a network of over 130,000 agents, and we're supporting, be kind to everyone. Everyone deserves the same rights. And just as you mentioned, our leadership, we have all different walks of life in, RE/MAX leadership. And that, to show that inclusion and that diversity, it makes you feel really proud to be part of that. And we're moving the needle. And I think that's super cool.
No question. And there's nowhere that you feel that more than what Charlie referenced when those flags go out at R4 through the aisles of the crowd in the arena in Las Vegas, and all the different cultures, beliefs, religions, different convictions that people have. They're all supported, and they all support each other, which is amazing. So thanks for sharing that. Really appreciate your insights there. So finally, as we head to a wrap of this session, which has been fantastic, I have a final question for each of you. And if there's somebody in the audience that's listening to this today thinking about opening their own brokerage or taking their brokerage to a different level, to a new level, and are looking at franchise opportunities and thinking about that as a direction, Just briefly, Brandon, what would you say to somebody thinking about a franchise? Again, whether they're starting up a brokerage like you did or taking their existing brokerage to go in a different direction or go to a new level. What would you say to them today?
I think the biggest thing is identifying kind of what are you missing in your business currently that you want to kind of take to the next level, and what franchise system can help you take it to that next level. What type of culture do you want to be surrounded by? What type of people do you want to be in business with? Because even though Charlie and I are in different markets, we do have a collective bond that joins us together, which we're all working for the same, great organization that we're trying to push forward. So, I would say that folks kind of look intrinsically or intuitively, like what's next? What is my next for my business, and how can that, what franchise system do I want to explore that will help me solve that next? Don't try to reinvent the wheel. You're going to get there much faster from people who have been there, done that, and check that box. So just go ask them. That would be my 2 cents.
Good stuff. Thanks, Brandon. And Charlie, what would you say to someone considering a franchise opportunity, whether they're starting up a brokerage or growing their brokerage, taking it to a different level?
Right. There's a lot to choose from, even more today than ever. What you really need to do is go look deep. Go out to the RE/MAX headquarters. Speak to the people there. Talk to other brokers, other broker owners, and see what they've done. And then come up with a plan. RE/MAX, one of the things that I was trying to make sure of is one, they were going to support me. They didn't just sell me the franchise and then, see you later. So they did that. And also I wanted to fill the entire, I should say, circle or pie. Yes, we have the residential, but we also sell $14 billion worth of commercial business. 3-4 years ago, about 3.5, 4 years ago, I started going into commercial, and we've grown that tremendously. And now I'm bringing on a second commercial guy and a business brokerage. So now I'm adding that in there. We've expanded into the luxury. So we're starting to sell more and more luxury properties. And RE/MAX had all of that. And that was one of the biggest things for me is I wanted somebody that could fill all the components so that I was building a brokerage and not just a residential firm. So that was one of the biggest things for me, and it's worked out very, very well.
Well, good. Well, thank you for sharing that, Charlie. And I'd just like to say this has been a great conversation. I've gotten a lot of great insights. I have personally from both of you, and I'm sure our audience today has as well. You both have done an amazing job within our network, and obviously the franchise structure fits both of you very, very well. And I'd personally like to thank you for taking time out of your schedules today to be with us, to share your insights, your views, and to do that transparently so everybody out there can benefit from your experience with your franchise. Again, you are both with RE/MAX, I'm with RE/MAX. We believe strongly in the organization that we're with. And as I mentioned earlier, many franchises out there have varying things that they offer that can bring value to a brokerage. And if you're considering looking at options, I'd encourage you to consider RE/MAX or consider any of the franchises that are out there. And as we conclude, my contact information will be on the next slide. And if anybody has any questions or if I can help with anything as it relates to RE/MAX franchise opportunities, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I oversee our franchise development for the US, and I'd be happy to get you in contact with somebody on my team or engage you personally. So Charlie, Brandon, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Love the insights, and I hope you both enjoy the rest of NAGLREP's conference, and hopefully next year we'll be able to be live again in Palm Springs. So
yeah, fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, thank you both. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Thanks.